than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. And right now, save 45% off any order. Just use code RADIO at checkout. Blindster.com.
Hey, it's Joe Pags coming up on a Free Speech Friday, Part 2 with Rudy Giuliani about what's happening in this country, in big cities with crime and more. Plus, Dr. Robert Malone, the inventor of mRNA technology. And the affidavit is out on the Joe Pags Show. Tonight from 6 to 9 on 630 KHOW.
Hi, Tom Martino here, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Okay, so on that mineral rights thing, or life estates, let me explain. Let me clarify something because I did look it up. Now, the life estate is an arrangement where a person's ownership lasts the duration of their life. So you could go in, for example, to someone who's elderly, and you could pay them money and grant them a life estate that they can live in their home the rest of their lives, and you give them money to live on. And at the end of their life, it goes to you. You're called a remainder man. Okay? So, if, however, there is no remainder man, or remainder woman, I guess, but it says remainder man, that's the legal term still until the crowd changes it. But if there is no remainder man, then with a life estate, it does go back to the original owner. So that could happen. That could happen. Whoever the original owner was of those mineral rights, it would go back to that property owner possibly, if he was the original owner. So if not, it goes to the remainder man who's named in the life estate. So you have to have that named in the you have to be named in the life estate, okay? So there, I hope. Pam has a comment on oil wells. Pam, go ahead. What is your comment?
Hi. You there?
Yes, Pam.
Okay, so we live in Weld County, and a couple weeks ago you gave somebody some advice about mineral wells being $1,000 per acre.
No, I did.
Right now
Pam, I wouldn't tell someone what a well is worth. I don't know what a well is worth. I never said $1,000 an acre.
I can't remember. We sent you a thing, but anyway.
Pam, let me explain what if you misconstrued something, here's what I'm saying. First of all, you never know what it's worth per acre. You don't know what your mineral rights are worth. It depends on what percentage you have of that acre. If you own 100% of an acre of mineral rights, that would be worth something different than someone who owns an eighth of a share, and I have no idea what that price would be.
Well, what I'm just trying to say is right now in Weld County, mineral right acres are going for at least $28,000 per acre.
Okay, if you own the entire acre of mineral rights, you could get 20 grand if it's a producer for sure.
Right, you're right. And most right now, especially in Weld County, I don't know where these two people are from. Right now, Weld County is drilling to beat the band. And we own 50% of 53 acres.
Okay.
And actually, my husband on 8/4/22 sent you a copy of part of our payment that we get. We're getting less than 12% per acre. But if you want to look up your...
Well, how much, Pam? Are you complaining about what you're getting, or you wanted to tell me?
No, I'm just saying that I have a feeling that some of these people are taking you, saying, right now, if you have 4 acres, you're not going to get hardly anything.
It depends on what. If you own all 4 acres and they're producing really well, or they're part of 600 acres. Remember this. She said it was a section. She owns 4 acres in the section. So if the section was leased out, she's going to get 4 acres of 600, whatever that turns out to be. We'd have to do the math. You get the percentage of that. And it depends on what they were leased out at. Now, if you're talking about a sale, if you say they're going for 20 grand, that's taking 20 grand on 1 acre of mineral rights that you absolutely own, and that's walking away. Okay, that's
Right.
walking away. But many
And that's
people don't. Many people
hard.
don't do that. Some people take way less than that, and then they get a percentage of the royalty. So there's
Right.
different ways of doing it.
Correct. But what I'm saying is, if she owns 4 acres and say those mineral rights are selling 20,000 per acre, that's $80,000.
That's right.
$500 to
That's right.
$1,000 talk to a oil expert to say, okay, right now.
I told her
your
to.
area
I told
is
her to
producing-
talk to a mineral rights attorney. I mean, I'm
right.
just saying,
I'm
here's
saying-
what I said. I said it could be worth nothing, or it could be, or next to nothing, or it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what she has. And she's taking a gamble, because she could end up spending legal fees to find out when really it won't produce. She could spend money, and I could be totally wrong, and it could be a gusher. I said those exact words, Pam. There's no way of knowing, however.
You did say those words, but I'm saying, but before you said those words, you were saying, it could be pennies on the dollar, but I'm just saying.
That's right. It could be
you
pennies
should
on the
say,
dollar.
For $200 or whatever, you might be able to talk to an oil attorney and say, this is where my land is, this is what I have, are they producing there?
Maybe.
You could
I don't know. For $200,
And
you might get a
Yeah.
mineral attorney to do that. I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. But here's the deal.
Our mineral attorney that we talked to up in Greeley, we talked to her for over an hour. It cost us $500.
Good. Then you ought to refer
And
her to this woman.
I
We ought to. What's her name?
Her name is her last name is Zern, Z-E-R-N. I think it's.
Okay, so if you're listening, hold on. If that caller's listening to us, you say you used an attorney in Greeley named Zern and got great information. So thank you, by the way. Pam, listen, I am not disagreeing with you, but man, royalties are so up and down the scale. It's like so many people have no idea what they're doing with them. And some people think. Some people think they have way more than they have, and other people don't think they have anything, and it turns out they do. Hold on one second.
yeah.
I need to start with Janet real quick. Hold on. Janet, I'm sorry you waited so long. Let me get started with you. What's going on?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I'm nervous
Yeah.
like the previous lady, but we were in a car accident on July 1st, and they totaled our 4Runner. We were without a rental car for a week because the at-fault insurance
Hey, was the
company-
accident, if the accident wasn't your fault?
No.
Okay.
So the at-fault insurance company didn't get to. I have to give them some credit because it was a holiday weekend. It was July 4th weekend.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, we ended up. Our insurance company gave us self-pay, lower cost rental. So we went with them, and now for a whole week we weren't able to have a rental car. Because
Why?
there were no 4Runners or SUVs available, and whatever.
Which
Anyway,
week were you not able to get it? The first week, or
the very first week, yes.
And so, what did you do for a car that week?
Depended on other people.
Okay.
And so now the opposing insurance company says they don't have to pay us for that week because we don't have receipts for it. And I'm just wanting to understand.
Well, hold
if
on
that's
now.
Colorado
Hold on.
law.
What did you depended on friends, right? I don't know of any Colorado law that addresses this as far as statutory law, and I can't right now look up precedent or common law. What I'm talking about, Janet, is this. I don't think there's any statutory law that addresses this, but when it comes to common law, or meaning law decided by the courts previously, there may have been cases where people had a loss of use of a car, and even though they don't have receipts, they were reimbursed. The problem is trying to value the loss of use. Here's what I'm saying, Janet. In the absence of common law, or even with the common law that doesn't apply here, the bottom line is this. If you were 1 week without a car, you did have a certain loss of value of something. And however, the insurance company is saying, we don't know how to value it. Had you rented a car, we would have paid for it. Okay? But you did not rent a car. They're saying no loss, no foul. That's what they're saying. But what you could do, if you wanted to, is you could assess yourself a realistic inconvenience fee or a loss of value, a loss of use. Then you can take that amount and sue the other party in small claims court, not his insurance company, but the other driver.
Oh, I thought there was some kind of, I just thought there was some kind of ruling about.
Hey, Janet, were there
there's
other cars available besides an SUV?
I don't know. That's what they were trying to find for us.
Wait, but you only wanted an SUV?
No, you had an obligation to mitigate your loss, meaning that you should have taken anything available. But here's the deal, Janet, to make a quick answer, I don't know of any law that literally addresses that says they must provide you money for the first week without a car. If it is, I've not heard of it in 40 years.
Okay.
I got to take this break. 303, if you have any more questions, you can hang on. 303-713-8255.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Michael Brown in the morning and Dan Kaplis in the afternoon. 630 KHOW, Denver. Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Truth with Lisa Booth podcast.
I-25 still slows both directions into downtown Denver, and we have congestion westbound on Central I-70. Wreck northbound Federal has us crowded between 23rd and 26th, and we're slowing for signal work on Wadsworth. Both directions, the right lane is closed up past 104th. Westbound Alameda shut down between Potomac and Peoria for the water main break in Aurora. Fox 31 pinpoint weather, expecting scattered thunderstorms this afternoon, a high near 86. It's going to be partly cloudy tomorrow, Saturday's high at 89, and then stormy weather. We'll see some rain on Sunday and a high near 90. Right now it's 77 degrees. With your Impact Traffic and weather, I'm Dustin Ritchie, 630 KHOW.
What does Monica Crowley think about the FBI raiding Trump? We're going to get Monica Crowley's take on The Truth with Lisa Booth, and make sure to listen to The Truth with Lisa Booth every Monday and Thursday and throughout the week on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Joe Lazara is a criminal defense attorney that I hope you never, ever need. And what do I mean by that? Well, obviously no one wants to be accused of a crime. It happens. A DUI is considered a crime. It's also considered a traffic offense. So you have two things going on at the same time. And you definitely need an attorney. Whether you want to throw yourself at the mercy of the courts pleading guilty or you were falsely accused, don't ever try to do it alone. Listen, in this and all cases, never shop when you're under pressure, ever. What you ought to do is take my advice, because I've shopped for you. Joe Lazara is a great guy. He'll do flat rate pricing and free initial consultations. So give him a call and get your criminal defense. 303-429-6200. Homevestors. It's very simple to understand this concept. They'll buy your home. Now, I know you've heard about a lot of companies saying they'll buy your home. So fine, check them out. Check out real estate. You know, some people are better off going the conventional route with someone like Frank Duran, the real estate man, but other people have deferred maintenance and poor condition house, or they don't want to do any inspections and closings, and they don't want to wait for loan approvals. They just want to get out of town and they want a cash deal. If that's the case, call Homevestors. Hey, what the heck? You can always say no, but it costs nothing to call and find out. 800-44-BUYER. 800-44-BUYER. Garage floors. I love a home that has garage floors. You know it's easier to sell your house when your garage floors are done. I'm serious. Or the walkways or patios or pool decks. Garage Kings, one of the companies we highly endorse to do that. No money down. They say the guaranteed lowest prices, and they work along the entire front range. Get your garage floors done now. GarageKings.com, 720-252-0370. What?
I said a bag in there, 0 sugar, chocolate.
Good, so you're taking those, Doc?
Yeah.
Good.
What I was trying to explain to my grandson, he's 6. He said, how do we have a drought. Where does the water go? He's trying to wrap his head around it. Does it ever come back? And where did it go? Well, yeah, but he's trying to figure it out in his little brain, you know.
But the truth is, we have the same amount of water we always did.
Yep.
Conservation of energy and mass.
We don't have the same amount of oil, though, do we?
No. Well, we were supposed to run out 20 years ago, though.
What's that?
We were supposed to have run out 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was exaggerated.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just have raccoons?
Serious? It wasn't the trash? Yeah.
Fuck you. It's terrible.
I hate raccoons.
And they must be raccoons. So the little hands get in and open the doors.
Mm-hmm. When I lived in Green Mountain, I tangled with raccoons a couple of times. We had them in our backyard. She had a litter, so there's 4 babies running around, tormenting my dog. So I got off, just stepped down off the porch to kind of chase them. Well, Mama come down off the box. I didn't see her. She came charging, and I'm like, oh my God.
You're mean.
Yeah, especially with babies. Yeah.
So are elk.
Oh, elk can be nasty when they're in rut.
But I heard, not that I know firsthand. Doc, you want a plastic bag?
Yeah, if you put us in a plastic bag, or just put some tin foil over them, Tom.
Sure.
Yeah, just wrap them in tin foil. That's good enough.
You definitely age yourself with tin foil.
What do you call it?
Well, aluminum foil.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I can remember calling it tin foil. Yeah.
So I had a friend who was Australia. He was here for a while and he's a pilot. He was getting some ratings. And he kept calling the airplane aluminium.
Aluminium.
Aluminium. I mean, it's aluminum. It's the same spelling, but he said aluminium.
Well, that's why you laughed at me, but I said American English as opposed to Australian, British, Nigerian.
See, I put this in the freezer and she'll have to put it out.
Well, that's a good idea.
But like I said, that's why I said American English as opposed to other.
Aluminium. Aluminium.
Aluminium.
That's what he would say. Aluminium.
Well, think how different.
In here with this declaration for new Caesar Sportsbook app users from Caesar. Your first bet's on us, is what Caesar told me to say. That means if you don't win, you get up to $1,250 back as a free bet. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app and sign up with the code RADIOFULL.
Open to new users in Colorado who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesar.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-522-4700.
Denver's talk station. Online at khout.com.
Hi, Tom Martino here, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. By the way, I want to take this quick comment from Bill on oil and gas, and then Mike, because I'm sure there are people, my listeners, that know more than I do. Go ahead, Bill. What's your comment, sir?
Well, I live in Greeley, which is Weld County. I live on a house lot that's about a 50 by 70. With the directional drilling, they drilled out of town. When they started drilling, they offered me $1,000, which went up to $2,000 for my oil rights. For the last 3 years on just my small lot, I've been making about $175 a month, which comes out to give or take $2,000 a year.
That's pretty cool. Now, listen, hold on. Was that $175 a month in addition to the lump sum?
I didn't get a lump sum. Well, maybe I did. I got $400 off the bat. So, yes, it would be.
Yes, sometimes you can lease in a number of ways. You can lease with a lump sum per acre and then so much per you get a percentage of royalty, or you can get a higher royalty with no money up front. There's all different kinds of leases. But how long is your lease? Do you know?
Well, no, I don't. I don't know how long they're going to drill.
So wait a minute. You have a small residential lot for which you're making $2,000 a year?
Correct.
Wow. Wow. Then that drilling must be right. I mean, it must be in a pool right under you and your neighbors. Your neighbors are too, right?
Correct. Now,
interesting.
How can I separate my oil rights from my property rights? So when I sell my house, I can keep the oil rights.
They're called mineral rights, and you simply write it that way. There's just a way you just write it up. You talk to anybody in real estate or land, they know how to do it. I mean, that's what I used to do. I used to all the time negotiate that. Am I going to get mineral rights or not? And many times I did, many times I didn't. So really, it's just part of the contract, is what it is. Unless, I mean, I doubt there might be laws that you conflict with. I mean, who knows? Are there laws that say you can't separate them? I think they made some laws regarding water rights because people were doing that all day long. But I don't really know the answer on the water rights part. But on mineral rights, as far as I know, last time I did it, it's just a separate contract and it excludes mineral rights. It's that easy. And you describe where the mineral rights are on the property with the legal description. Mike, you have a comment on mineral rights? Go ahead. And by the way, there is a difference between mineral rights and royalties. Mineral rights are simply the rights. They're not worth anything unless someone wants to go get minerals. Then when they go get minerals, if you did not sell your mineral rights, you can get royalties on what they pull out. Go ahead, Mike. Mike? Okay. I'm going to assume he's not there. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. More coming right up.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
I-25 still slows both directions into downtown Denver.
I know. You know, a lot of people talk about mineral rights on my show. They do. They really do. So there must be like a lot of people who... I have right now a steady of about... Geez, I don't know. It's quite a bit. Maybe 100 a year. No, about 75 a year.
That's great, just passive income. You have nothing for.
Yeah, but I got a lot invested. I got about $750 invested over the years. My biggest mistake was I invested it without knowing what I was doing. I got what attorneys told me, which I trusted, good deals. But because I bought, like from an estate, I would buy a bundle of acres, right? So here's my problem. If I want to exit, I don't know what to sell them for. Because I have no basis. So people are offering me all the time so much per acre, right? But I'm afraid that if I take the money per acre when I get to the end, instead of getting my $750 back, I might only get $500 because there's no way to project. Like if I take
how much have you? All right, so if you get $500 back, have you gotten $250?
Well, then I break even. What good is that?
No, have you gotten more than $250?
Well, I don't. That's a question too, right? But what I'm saying is the basis should be higher, not lower. No matter what, the basis should always be higher. But I don't know what the basis is because, see, I have so many undeveloped acres as well. So what if I took like 10,000 an acre now? Or it wouldn't be that much. But let's just, whatever I take, if I took that much, does it, and the other half is worth shit, I've just screwed see, because I don't know how to spread out. It's called basis. I don't know how to.
That's why you need a mineral rights attorney.
To let me know, here's your valuable, here's your not so valuable, here's your best. Yeah. So I can charge more for the best, less for the...
I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the way you do it.
Where you're selling potential on the undeveloped.
Right. Yeah. But you're asking technical questions that you need somebody who...
And every day, I get mail, people applying to the local authorities, wherever the acre... So my acres are in Pennsylvania and in Wyoming, and in Colorado, and in Oklahoma.
So they're very diversified.
They're all
Yeah,
over.
Yeah.
There are thousands.
Do you have to pay, let's say that your parcel's in
property tax.
Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Do you have to pay state taxes to Pennsylvania
Oh,
and Colorado?
Income tax? No.
No, not income tax.
Land.
Any kind of tax.
I pay property tax.
just property
but
tax.
it's minute because I only owe
Right.
a portion of it.
Right, right.
I'm in with a bunch of owners.
So they don't collect sales tax when you get your royalties
Oh,
or
no.
income tax. You only pay Colorado income tax?
Yeah, because
Not Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it's sent to me here.
Well, you know what they say? You got first world problems.
So yeah, but
Is that K1 income, or how do they do?
each well pays its own.
Okay.
Yes. Well, no, like one operator might be Chesapeake, okay? So Chesapeake might have 3 wells, and they name the wells, and they'll send you one check on those 3 wells, if they're on your acre, right? So I deal right now with about 9 different operators.
Can you imagine what the oil companies have to do to keep...
How they keep track?
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Well, it's simple. Actually, just when they purchase the land, they know who they're purchasing it from. And then it's up to you to notify them if you change ownership.
And I'm sure some companies are better at it than others. You know.
And I am 100% sure there are companies that will do the accounting for them, and they outsource it. And now they can outsource it to people who speak American English.
You were going for that one.
So that Tom won't get frustrated.
I don't know why this stops working. It just has such a short span.
So this was the COVID hideout, huh?
Yeah.
This is what we did. It was fun.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The only 4 people, I was in hospital for a long time with COVID, right?
I did not know that. No.
I was in for the whole month of December of 2020.
It was terrible.
Anyway, the only 4 people I came in contact with were Tom and Dan, who never tested positive, my son and his fiancée,
Who never.
who never tested positive. So those are the only 4 humans I had contact with, except I did go shopping once or twice, and with a mask, and that's probably where I picked it up. Yeah, it was touch and go with me for the first 3 days. They couldn't get my oxygen level up.
Wow, that's brutal.
So finally on day 4, it went up a little bit. And that's when I knew, they said, okay, it's going to be a...
You said you were pissed because you felt like you didn't even know where you got it.
Yeah, I didn't, well, but once they told me that it was going up, would just be a while before they could, then I said, fine,
At khal.com/newsletter. Breaking news, weather, sports, and more from our community. That's khal.com/newsletter.
Hi, Tom Martino here, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Okay, so Mike's got a comment on mineral. Go ahead, Mike. What is your comment?
Yeah, she knows the closest property producing. Why doesn't she just go there, contact the owners, and ask them to get an idea?
That would be a really good idea. I mean, if they own the same amount or the same amount that she does, they might have a smaller share.
Yeah, it may or may not be the same, but it'll kind of give her a rough idea, and the advice is free.
Yeah, you're right. And Mike, what Mike is saying is when we're talking about mineral rights, even though there might be a well in a certain spot, it might be drawing from reserves underneath several acres. And royalties are paid out, and mineral rights are paid out per acre, and royalties are paid out per acre per draw, whether it's per barrel or not. So it's made in a way that you're either selling your mineral rights or you're going to lease your mineral rights. And if you lease your mineral rights, you can sometimes negotiate a lump sum per acre and plus a share of the royalty, or just a higher share of the royalty and no lump sum, or just whatever, or a big lump sum for a certain amount of time. Rob has a question for Kevin on starter motors. Go ahead, Rob. What's your question on starter motors? Hi.
Well, my question is, there's a lot of newer model cars that will stop the engine of the car when you're at a traffic light.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I call it the golf cart mode.
It is.
Yes. Yeah. So it seems to me that puts a lot more wear and tear on a starter motor, and I'm just curious if it's really worth the fuel efficiency you gain from having to stop all the time. Because if you go across town, you could be 20, 30 times more than wear on the starter motor.
No, I agree with that. And I would wish that they would back it up to where maybe 5 minutes it would shut off.
I turn it off. I turn that feature off on my car. It's by default, it turns on when you start the car. I turn it off. Have you done that?
Yeah, I have. I mean, but like you say, it comes on automatically, and it's my wife's car, so she sometimes doesn't turn it off.
My personal opinion, I don't think it saves enough to warrant you doing it, because the hardest part on a car is when it starts. There's more raw fuel comes out on start than any other time.
So it basically is literally turning the car off and back on again.
Yes.
With a starter.
Yes.
How does it... I often wonder, though, all I have to do is touch that accelerator, and bam, it starts.
And it's the brake pedal, too. You can play with the brake pedal.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it just knows, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I often wonder. Thank you for calling. Yeah, it is hard. He says it's hard because it's being used all the time. So I guess you're right in assuming that it's hard on the starter. But it's on cars because it's mandatory. Just keep turning it off. We have more coming up on the Troubleshooter Show. Get your calls in, 303-713-TALK.
Home buyers, we've got great news for you. Gone are the...
No, that system drives me crazy.
What's that?
That starter system drives me crazy.
I don't even know how it works. It's so crazy, man. It's so...
It senses your foot on the brake pedal for a certain amount of time, knowing you're sitting idling. As soon as you take your foot off the brake pedal, it starts. I mean, it works, but it doesn't make sense.
It's just using up the starter motor?
Well, yeah. Well, if you think about it, nothing's running, so to start it, it's raw fuel. There's no oil in the engine.
What about electric cars? They just...
Well, there's no... They always just shut off.
Yeah, electric cars are.
Yeah, it's like you said, the golf cart syndrome. Yeah.
The electric cars are fascinating.
Yeah.
They're just always off until you press the gas.
And then they take off.
Immediately.
Oh, they're like a rocket ship. Are you kidding? Yeah.
My kid's car is so fast, it's just a little car.
Do you feel safe with him driving it?
Yeah, he loves that car so much.
Well, shit, I would too if my dad bought me a Tesla.
Yeah. Oh, they're cool cars.
60 and 322 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's a little too quick for some people, but yeah.
I mean, and he doesn't have a lot of performance. He has a dual motor. I got him the dual motor.
Which is what? What do you mean by dual motor?
It's got front and back motors.
Oh, really?
All-wheel drive.
Wow.
And it's a Model 3, a 4-door. It's a nice little...
What did it cost you, about 60?
57 with everything all in it.
Oh, it's about 60. Yep.
Yeah.
I was watching the TV last night.
I'm going to get a $2,500 state credit.
There was a commercial for...
I should have gotten the federal, but the federal ran out.
There was a commercial for Jeep.
Yeah.
The Jeep Wagoneer was $62,000. The Grand Wagoneer was $89,000. I'm thinking, who wants to pay $89,000 for a Jeep
Grand Wagoneer?
Are you fucking with me?
Completely loaded Grand Wagoneer.
$89,000.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's like the Expedition and the Lincoln Navigator and all those are over 100.
Are they really?
Yeah. The Excursions and the...
I mean, I'm just going to keep my Subaru to it.
We're going to go with duct tape. Did you ever get that fixed?
Well, no, duct tape works great. You know, the outside is banged up a little bit, but who cares? I mean, I change the oil, I get the brakes fixed.
No, that's the main thing. Keep them running. But I
Right.
kind of like them to be. I don't need a new car, but I like to have them. You know, I don't know.
Well,
I'm still waiting to get mine into a body shop from a wreck I had this winter. Somebody ran in the side of my truck.
Oh, and they're going to pay for it?
They already paid me for
Oh,
it, but
okay.
the body shops have been so backed up.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave it there for 2 weeks. So as soon as they get cleared up, I'll get that fixed. But you know, like I said, it's on the pasture side, so I don't see it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I promised Eric next car I buy would be an electric car, but it depends on when I finally move into my place, how much money I spend, whether I take out a loan, what my finances are, and it's all up in the air right now.
Yep. Well, I mean, the car's only part of it. Then you need a charging system.
Right.
You know.
I think they're putting one in the house,
Yeah.
a charging system.
Oh, in the
In the garage.
condos? Yeah.
For your for an electric car?
Yeah.
No shit.
That was one of the options.
And you had it done?
Yeah, because I may get an electric car,
That's a
and
big
if I
deal.
resell the house, it's a huge selling point.
Man, that's nice.
Well, the charging systems they get me are like out at the airport. You know, where they get the front spot, like the
Right.
front 10 spots or something in the underground part. You know, they're all thought about putting my truck there, just putting the cord in the gas door, see if that works. Because you know, how long are you going to charge your car for 2 weeks while you're gone?
Well, you can put it on
Oh yeah.
on the trickle.
Yeah.
You know, it's a maintainer.
Right.
Yeah, it'll stop charging when
It just seems odd at
It'll stop. If you put it to 80 or 90%, it'll just stop when it's there.
Yeah.
My iPhone does the same thing.
Yeah.
If I leave it charged overnight,
You can keep it in all the time.
yeah, it'll say, it was shut off because it reached maximum capacity.
But it's like, my son has a charger at his house.
Well, it'd be better if he has an electric car.
He does. He does.
Yeah.
He had a charger.
Right, I was saying he has to.
Or 220.
Yeah.
So it charges really fast. Here, I just plugged it into 110, but it works really well for him.
So you can plug it into a 110? It just takes a longer...
Yeah, 110 to get to a full charge would be 3 days.
Wow.
But I mean,
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, if that's what
you
you
just
have.
commuted and turned it on all night, you'd pretty much keep up with the 110. It wouldn't be optimal because you'd have to park it, not use it till it falls.
Right, but you're just going back and forth from here to... Where's your other place?
Lonnie Break.
Oh, okay.
And there's no memory or anything in these batteries anymore, is there? I mean, you can charge them 10% and unplug them and back and forth and...
There's not supposed to be a memory. I find that hard to believe that they say there's not.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not nickel cadmium, it's lithium ion, and I don't believe they have a memory. But they do not recommend 100% charge unless you're going on a trip. And I don't know why. Yeah, they recommend that you just charge them to 70 or 80%. Some people only charge to 60%. I say the hell with that. If I'm going through the trouble of charging,
Well, the cold in the winter is going to be the test for a lot of these electric cars, though. Because the batteries are going to get sucked out of them quick in the winter.
Somebody told me if you buy like spare batteries, to keep in the refrigerator.
lithium ions do not have a memory.
Okay.
Deep discharge cycles are not required.
Okay.
In fact, it's better to do battery and use partial discharge.
Wow. Okay. Completely opposite of what
Yeah.
we
Common
were-
sense.
yeah.
NiCads have memory.
Gotcha.
And to reset it, you have to do a deep reconditioning of discharge.
So run them completely out. Yeah. So I got to stop charging my lawnmower battery.
Why did I? Yeah.
So you live in a house, no is there an HOA?
Nope.
That must be nice.
Yeah. No, I just specifically live from it out. It's over in Lakewood. It's a nice little neighborhood. Because I didn't want a big piece of property to
Yeah.
take care of anymore.
I don't blame you.
$1,000 and a trip to our 2022 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Text the nationwide keyword LUCKY to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest.
Ripped off, bad news. You need advice so you don't have to lose. We'll come running just as fast as we can. Troubleshooter's gonna help the common man.
This is the Troubleshooter Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Hey, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. By the way, this is the Troubleshooter Show where we're fighting for you, solving problems, answering questions, taking complaints. Silverleaf Mortgage is a reverse loan company that I highly recommend. Reverse loans right now, a lot of people are having some pause saying, hey, interest rates are pretty high. What should I do? Well, if you're truly going to use them the way they're supposed to be used, you just pay your taxes and insurance. It'll get you out from a house payment. And the interest rate doesn't matter because once you are approved for an amount, it doesn't matter how long and how much you borrow from that amount. You can never go over the value of the house, and you'll never owe more than the value of the house. And in most cases, the house will appraise for more than the loan. So it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It just eats up equity. Now, if you want to leave equity to somebody, it definitely affects you. But if you're using the equity to live off of, to not have a house payment or to have a line of credit, it doesn't matter. But what I'd like you to do is I would like you to call Silverleaf Mortgage and find out more. They're great people. They even have a nonprofit to help you fix up your house in the event you need to get a better appraisal. 720-REVERSE. 720-REVERSE. Kim's got a question about a 2010 Nissan Rogue or the AC, I think. Kim, hi. What's going on with you, Kim?
Hi, Tom.
Hi. What's going on?
Thanks. Well, my Rogue air conditioner recently quit working, and so my husband changed out the pump and the condenser. We charged it with the CAN stuff, and it says it's properly charged. We live up in Pine Junction, so we're at 8,500 feet, and it works perfectly. So when I drive into town, turn it off, go into the store, come back out, it sometimes won't come on. It blows and it acts like it's on, but there's no cold air.
Well, did he fill it up at altitude?
Yes.
Well, Kevin,
I don't know if the altitude would affect it much.
No?
It may not have a full charge on it, though. Just because that little gauge that you buy on the can says full, it's not accurate.
Okay, where would a good place to go to
Most shops,
get a real accurate reading?
Well, you'd have to get a full service done where they would pull the Freon out and measure it. Sometimes it's overfull, and that's almost as big a problem as under. So you really got to...
So what did he change out?
The compressor and condenser.
Well, those are the two main parts,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and what made him change? What I want to know is why did he change those out?
Well, because it wasn't putting any cold air out at all.
And it started working after that.
It showed it was full, so we figured it was a part problem.
All right, so the compressor and the condenser are new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have a charging problem. It's either too low or too much Freon. That's what I would check first. And unfortunately, you have to get a service to pull it out and measure it.
Okay.
Why would it only work at higher altitudes, though?
I think it's only working.
I think it takes less pressure up there to.
No, I think it's only working first thing in the morning, and as the system functions, it's starting to malfunction.
Okay, let me ask you.
If I'm in Denver for a while, and then it doesn't turn on, and I drive and I leave it on, as soon as I start getting up higher altitude, all of a sudden it starts working again. That's why we're like, it's got to be something with the
could it be, if you didn't have a full charge, could it be, Kevin, if you don't have a full charge, it takes less of a charge or less pressure at altitude to make it work?
I've never heard of that before.
I mean,
I don't know.
altitude does play a difference on how efficient things are. Usually, they're less efficient at altitude, not more efficient.
Yeah, you'll have different volume issues at altitude, sure.
I don't know, man. To me, this is a mystery. If anything, I would think it would work at sea level and not at altitude if it was partially, but who knows? I mean, that's weird. And can you note at what altitude or elevation it starts working?
No, not really. I guess windy point at 285 on 285. I was even asking neighbors because they live it up there too. They thought maybe it was the heat level in Denver, the heat causing it to overwork and it shuts down.
Does it always? Well, hold on. Is it always warmer in Denver?
Yeah.
Or is it the thickness of the air? I mean, could the air density have anything to do with it? I don't know.
I don't know. We've had this road for quite a few years and never had an issue with it.
The very first thing you're going to have to do is what Kevin suggested. You're going to have to check the charge. Just check it. And then check for leaks. Okay. And any good shop can do that.
Yep.
So you check for charge or check for leaks. Thank you, Kim. And of course, you can always go to Sheridan Auto Tech. They'd love to do it for you no matter where you are. And Mary, you have a comment on mineral rights. We've been talking about mineral rights and royalty rights, or royalties, I should say. And go ahead, Mary. What's going on?
I have a comment. I own mineral rights, and what I'm hearing two different things here. I heard this lady, when she first called in, said that an oil company had contacted her to buy her mineral rights.
Right.
Now, you're talking about leasing.
Right.
They're two different things. Now, if my mineral rights were constantly being contacted by oil companies to buy our mineral rights, which we will not sell. And so leasing is a different ballgame.
Right. Right. That's right. But you can do another thing, and that is just share in royalties and let someone mine on your property. How many acres are you on?
Oh, it's around 6,000.
So you have a ton of mineral rights. And oil companies, are you sure they're asking you to buy? Have they ever asked you to participate as
absolutely. We've leased many, many times.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's the good part of doing it. And because if you lease, am I correct in saying you got a lump sum per acre to lease it and then a plus royalty?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way I like doing it.
You can negotiate it. But we do get letters from oil companies wanting to purchase the mineral rights, which we will not sell.
You just want to retain them. That's right.
Absolutely.
And how long have you owned them?
Well, my father homesteaded in 1916.
Wow. So did you guys ever make money off the mineral rights? Have you leased any and made money?
Oh, yeah.
How many acres do you have leased?
Oh, gosh, it varies. It's been acres throughout the years.
Okay.
It's in another state. It's up in the Williston Basin.
No, I understand. Can you give us an idea, like, for example, of what a good lease would produce per month for royalties?
Oh, gosh. Well, see, that stuff is negotiable. They'll start...
Well, of course it is. It depends on how much you get up front and how much you take in royalty. That's right.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but no. So they start low and we get them to go up.
Yeah, you know what's hard to figure out is how much is fair, because without anything to compare it to, you have to add, that's where mineral attorneys come in. Do you use a mineral attorney?
We haven't, but occasionally we do have a mineral attorney look through the papers.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for calling in with a comment. We love it. 303-713-8255. Listen, it's important that you don't overpay for insurance. And it's important you're not underinsured. So do a free insurance checkup, no obligation. honest people who will give you an honest-to-God objective look at your insurance. The Insurance Checkup from Compass Insurance Group, and that's 303-996-9000.
Grab those running shoes on September 4th for the Broncos 7K. Broncos Country is leveling up with a video game themed race. All racers will receive a limited edition 8-bit Broncos themed t-shirt and a Broncos video game cartridge medal. Plus, you get to finish on the 50-yard line of Empower Field at Mile High. Space is limited, so register today at Broncos7k.com before it's game over.
O'Brien Legal Services. O'Brien. That's Brad O'Brien. He's a real estate attorney. And you really need him to review documents on any real estate transaction. It's only a few $100 compared to the hundreds of thousands at stake. O'Brien Legal Services, olslaw.com. I highly believe in getting a professional on your side during all real estate negotiations or conflicts or anything to do with real estate. 720-370-7388, olslaw.com. I also believe you need professionals on your side when your property has been, like catastrophized. Is that a word? I don't even know if it is. Anyway, or insulted with a flood, a fire, maybe soot or ash, black mold, asbestos. Okay, let's just put it this way. When your property has a problem that you need to clean up, you need to get the right company and don't depend on your insurance company. Insurance companies want to pay the least, and when they do, you may end up with a mess on your hands because they'll only pay once. So go with a great restoration company. They can get rid of water, mold, black mold, asbestos. They have all the EPA certifications, the experience, the knowledge, and the honesty. American Restoration 24/7. Here's the number, 8337-AM-REST. Don't hesitate to call. They work with all major insurance. 8337-AM-REST. Or online at amrest247.com. David Ellis Jewelry will buy your jewelry, whether it's antique jewelry, vintage, or estate jewelry and precious stones. They'll buy it today. You go there, they give you a fair estimate. If you decide to take it, you get paid right then. 3rd and Clayton and Cherry Creek. Or you can sell your mismatched earrings, tangled messes, the chains that have gotten knotted up and you just want to get the precious metal value. They'll weigh it and pay it at davidellisjewelry.com, a name you've trusted for 40 years. 303-322-8779.
Mike.
Okay, hold on. I gotta change something out there.
Neighbor across the street's ripping out their lawn, and going Zero-Escape, putting gravel and walls and everything.
So they're going to have no grass?
Zero. Yeah.
That's what they're doing in, I know they're doing it in Vegas.
Well, yeah, Vegas I can understand, but he's giving me crap because my girlfriend's out there. She waters every morning her flowers and goes out and talks
Well,
to her.
luckily, I don't think Denver's in a drought situation. We got so much rain and snow.
Yeah. See, that's what they're doing at his place. Yeah.
Wow.
Just gravel and wall completely.
If everybody did that, it would make a huge difference.
It would, but I don't think we use that much water. you know, in one little patch of grass.
Yeah, like I said, right now we're not in a water shortage in Denver.
But I don't water for hours, and I don't run down the sidewalk, you know. You just got to be smart about it.
The weirdest thing, you know, I've been having a pain in my upper shoulder. I just went and looked at it, and it's like somebody cut me with a knife.
What?
A fucking slice. I wonder what I did.
What are you talking about?
Sometimes I do this, and I scratch myself.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think...
You could have scratched up that.
I literally have a cut on my back that's bleeding.
That's bleeding?
I know it.
Oh, my God.
I don't even know how the hell I did that.
Does Stephanie have long nails? No, I'm serious.
No.
Because she could sleep, you know, while you sleep.
It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's just like it's about that long, and it's bleeding. And
I'm telling you, it's from Stephanie while you're sleeping. That you don't realize it.
So weird. Because at least I know what it is now. I was thinking, what the fuck is that?
Well, she probably scratched you at night. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, I know what you're... Now, is this yours?
No, this is...
Okay. That's what... No one knows what that word is. Hey, Tom Martino here, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Frank Duran, the real estate man, is on because I wanted to ask him. We've had so many questions about this. And I asked Kelly to get him on when we had a lull in calls. By the way, you can still get your calls in, though, at 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Hey, Frank, our houses, people, one guy was talking about a glut in cars. Someone else said we're going to see the housing market turn around. And I'm not necessarily, if you know what I'm talking about here, I'm trying to say this as kindly as I can. You're going to outperform people, so I'm not asking you to give necessarily just your personal experience, but what you've observed. Are houses starting to sell for less than they were because they were going for way over the asking, way over appraisals? What have you seen?
Hi, Tom. Good to talk to you, my friend.
Good to talk to you.
It is softened, and one mistake I see a lot in this market where I think people need to be really careful is I see some people listing their homes as if it was 6 months ago when the market was super hot. And you got to be so careful because I've seen this curve before. And when the market is softening like this and you get behind the market, what happens is people find themselves chasing the market down. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these price reductions because they're starting a little too aggressive on the price. And I'll tell you, we went from 11 days of inventory to now, I believe, over 53 days and counting of inventory, Tom. So it's very important to know where to price them so you're not missing the market.
Hey, Frank, you know, I heard, I'm going to give you some examples. A guy selling his house in the mountains listed it for let's say 2.2, roughly, and had to take $50,000 less, roughly. Is that unusual?
Based on what we're seeing right now, it's not unusual, although I would say if a person leverages the price a little bit better, they will have less of those kind of things going on. But it's starting to get...
What does that mean? What does that mean, Frank? Talk about that. What do you mean, leverage it better?
I'll give you a really good example. I have a property in a certain area that we had listed. We looked at what the competition was doing, and they were sitting there for 43 days just not moving. And I suggested, look, we're going to beat the market at its own game. I'm going to show you how to hit that sweet spot. We did. Well, we ended up getting 10 over, and the neighbor was still, at that time, still sitting. I think they're still on the market active right now. So we were able to move it and create enough demand to sell it at a peak value for what the market's going to give right now. We're not seeing those extreme bidding wars by any means. At the same time, you'll still have leverage where a buyer comes in and says, okay, this is my top 2, top 3 for the day. But, Tom, I'll tell you this. I talk to people about this all the time. They got to be careful because the typical buyer, you need to be in a position where you're most people's top 2, top 3. If you're somewhere in the middle of the pack, they've already forgotten about your house the second they walk out the door because they have too many choices right now.
Now, Frank, you mentioned something about inventory went from 11 days to 53 days, meaning that's how many houses worth of houses we have. It's out 53 days. What about time on market? What's been happening with time on market?
Gosh, Tom, I'll tell you, we're seeing a lot of these areas I'm selling, and when I'm pulling up these areas, we're seeing time on market over 42, 43 days. You know, and I'll tell you, it's funny because I've been around long enough to know this. Back when we were in an average real estate market, it was not unusual that it might take 21 to 30 days to sell. I think what's happened is we've gotten so spoiled when homes were selling in 48 to 72 hours. And I think sometimes people get nervous over that. But in reality, based on the inventory we have, as long as you price it right, it's not unrealistic to be on for 3 or 4 weeks maybe. But I think when you start getting too excessive, that's when, your home's going to take a hit if you're not priced right. It's probably time to make an adjustment.
Frank, I remember when houses could be on the market 60 days, easily.
Sure.
I mean, so I think we've all gotten spoiled.
We have really gotten spoiled. And same with interest rates. All the rates are not bad right now, but I mean, we're really getting spoiled there with interest rates as well, Tom. And it's nothing to panic about. I do hear some panic in people's voices. It's really not. I think it's just a matter of knowing how to gauge the market and get that peak price based on what the market's going to give. There's still not a whole lot. I mean, a great amount of inventory, enough where people are going to sit there for 6 months. They don't have to anyway. I think it's just a reality of knowing where to price it.
My second house. I remember my second, not my first. My first was pretty good. My second house, my interest rate was 12%.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, because then they went to 14 and 16. It's during Jimmy Carter, I think it was. Wasn't it Jimmy Carter? It was in North Carolina years and years ago. I was paying 12% and got a deal. We got a deal. Now, Frank, as far as interest rates, do they affect that much in all price ranges or just certain price ranges?
Well, that is a great question.
Right.
The bigger thing, even more so than rates, although rates I think do make some difference, I think the bigger thing is the supply and demand ratio, Tom, more than anything else. Now, if the rates got too far out of hand and we started having buyers fall out of the market, now, that could be a separate problem. But I'll tell you what I've noticed is I don't see any more buyers in the market buying now than were maybe 6 months ago. It just seemed like we had a lot of buyers because there was hardly any inventory. And I think what's happened now is it's balanced out a little bit,
So we actually have more inventory than we did.
We have more inventory. And I'll tell you, too, this is another thing, too, is we're having some situations where I know for a fact 4 months ago we might have had, 30 showings through the door, and you might get maybe 7 over a weekend, and the seller's like, wow, that's not a lot. But here's the thing. It's not the quantity. It's the quality, because out of those 7 offers, if we're getting 2 or 3 good, strong offers, we're still going to end up hitting a peak value for what the market's going to give.
So are homes going then still for a little more than asking in general?
Well, in general, I see them going for less. I see them a lot of price reductions. But then again, I sell all over, so I see certain areas like one we'd had in Brighton. We did very well with this one. We had that other one I was just telling you we went over. And I think some of it depends on how much inventory is in that particular area, too. I think that's a big difference.
Frank, you've been a really big help. And what about the higher-end homes now? Let's say $1 million and more, $2 million even, like the big iron.
Tom, I still see them moving, but I'm also seeing the same kind of thing. I met a really sweet, wonderful gentleman, was it yesterday, and it's amazing. The home that was across the street from his, there was one that just sold right when the market had just started cooling down, and they kind of slipped right under that radar. This other one, it's been sitting there for about, I think, $1.1 million they have it at. And I'm telling you, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, they would have moved that quickly. It's been on the market, I think, for a little over 35 or 36 days. And I think the only difference is they could still move that home. I just think it's going to take a little longer to move it.
Frank, thank you so much. That's Frank Duran, therealestateman.com, 303-920-1622. And he'll do a free market analysis so you don't come out of the gate with the wrong price. The worst thing in the world you want to do is ask too much and have to cut the price. It's better to ask maybe a little less, and then you get a bidding war going. He still knows how to do that. So thanks, Frank. And Lawrence, oh my goodness, were we waiting for you. I want to you know what I'd like to do, Lawrence? I'd like to sum up your problem with the bank and then come back and find out what they finally did. So hang on. This is about Lawrence, who was ripped off with a scam for $50,000, but it was made worse when he discovered it was a scam, told his bank. They said they would stop payment, and they didn't. Let's talk about it coming up.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Tom Martino now. Leland Conway at 2, 630 KHOW, Denver. Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.
And a couple things going on this afternoon in the Denver Metro. We do have an accident southbound I-225 at I-25. That's causing stop-and-go speeds from Parker Road at 104th and Wadsworth. Working on the signals there. The right lane is closed both directions of Wadsworth. We're seeing slow speeds on that stretch. And this closure in the Aurora Hills area, westbound Alameda closed between Potomac and Peoria as they continue to repair that water main. Your Fox 31 pinpoint weather. Chance of rain today, mid to upper 80s for the high. Showers possible tonight and 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and 89, and Sunday, a chance of rain and a high near 90. Right now, it's 79. With your Impact Traffic and weather, Katie Mitchell, 630 KHOW.
Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than box. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. And right now, save 45%. Use the code RADIO at checkout. Blindster.com.
Hey, RVs are the way to go if you're looking for a real vacation. That's what RV means, right? Nah. Recreational vehicles up at SentryRV.com. I love Sentry because of their stance. No matter what the supply chain was doing or the supply, they never raise prices to where you couldn't see a great deal. They have great discounts even now. Fifth wheels, pop-ups, camper trailers, Class A's, and more. If you're looking for a great deal on an RV, go right in your backyard, north on I-25 to exit 240. They're right there on Frontage Road on the east side of I-25. SentryRV.com. They just have built a brand new maintenance facility for all of their customers as well. That's Sentry RV, 303-453-1111.
Do roller.
You know, it's interesting. They have a lot of these, what they call First Amendment auditors on Facebook, and these people...
Oh, yeah, except that what they mean is to quash out conservative speech.
Well, no. What they do is they start filming things.
I thought you were talking about their board. Okay.
No, like the business or the hospital or the post office will come out and try and stop them from filming.
Right.
And then they try and educate them that anything you can see from a public space,
that's right.
we can photograph.
Film. Right.
You can't
record, right?
Exactly. So there's even something in the post office.
That's right.
It's called Poster 7, which explicitly states that photography and blah blah is allowed.
Yeah.
And the postmasters still try and get these people trespassed. So they don't even know what the rules are. That you can photograph anything you can see, as long as you're in a public space.
I've always had to go.
That's what sprinklers are for.
What?
That's what sprinklers are for.
For my 35-year career in TV.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's longer, but in Denver, it was 32 years in Denver. We would go to seminars. We had to go to seminars with these law firms that tell you what you can and can't do, and what you can and can't say, and that's precisely it. We were talked about when you spy on people, what you can get away with, what you can film, and what you can't. Like anything you can see in their window, you can photograph without using telephoto
lens. As long as you're not on their property.
And not using telephoto lenses or artificial boosters like a crane or a ladder. But anything you can see from the street, anything is open game. But you can't zoom in. It's got to be what the eye can see.
Right.
Now, as far as zooming and all that, people used to do it anyway, but man, are you on thin ice. Yeah. That's invasion. And by the way, look what happened to invasion of just for that fire chief in L.A.
Oh, yeah, with Kobe.
Holy shit.
Right.
That was at a bar. They didn't even publish it.
No.
It was just showing people at a bar.
Yeah.
Because they had somebody famous dead.
That's it.
I can't believe they were showing the pictures of the bar.
The city's
I think the jury was the jury was pissed.
Yeah.
Fucking pissed.
I don't know if the judge is going to reduce that. Because a lot of times they will do that. Like with the Alex Jones thing.
They didn't reduce that.
No, but I think it was $450 million, and they reduced it down to $45 million or something like that.
Oh, was it really a lot?
Yeah. And the judges have the authority.
I didn't know that. I didn't know the Alex Jones. I didn't really actually know what it was.
Reduced down to 45.
What damages will Alex Jones? You know, this did more for his brand than anything.
Yeah, it absolutely did. It's the best advertising you could have got.
I'm not so sure about that.
Jury awards $45.2 million in punitive, so it was $45 million, and then 4 in actual. So 45 on top of $4 million. So he was ordered to pay 49.3. So what will happen now? 49. I don't think they reduced it.
Well, it was something else that was reduced from like 400 million to. I mean, it was probably a different case.
I love the way they always point out that he's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Why the
Right.
fuck?
Yeah,
you know, isn't that weird? How it's
But
amazing.
as soon as they do that, I stop reading.
I mean,
They
like,
twist
what
that-
difference does it make?
Mhm.
No matter the mileage, make, or year. Get the best possible price with an honest and professional appraisal. Or shop our selection at thesharpestrides.com.
Where for every vehicle sold, a donation is made to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Can't come in? Call 303-934-3410 and ask for DJ for a remote appraisal. The Sharpest Rides, Colorado's #1 online dealer.
4 to 6.
Hey, it's Dan. Join me today at 4. We'll dive into the latest craziness from D.C. and from the loony left right here in Colorado, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it. Join me at 4.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Let's talk to Lawrence now. So, Lawrence, let's talk about this. I want to tell people what happened to you. To make a long story short, you had 2 accounts at USAA. These guys flim-flammed you into getting access to your account, and they made it look like you had been over-refunded some money. They made believe they were from the Geek Squad, and they had charged you for something you wanted a refund. They claimed they refunded you way too much and said you had to give them back, or, you know, asked you to give them back the overage, and you were kind enough to say, oh, yeah, you know, I only wanted my $500 back or whatever, or my $350 back. I'll give you the rest of the money back. So you wired them like 40 grand or 50 grand, some outrageous amount. And then your son said, Dad, you were scammed. You better stop that wire. And you called the bank and you said, hey, I need to stop that wire. It was a fraud, right, Lawrence?
I called the bank and I told them I'd been scammed and that they needed to contact Chase. USAA did not contact Chase until the 12th when I kept calling back and sent me to the wire department.
Now, what does what does USAA have to do with Chase? Was Chase the bank you were sending it to?
Right, and my bank is USAA.
Gotcha. And then what happened? Go ahead. Then what happened?
Well, it took me to the 12th before they transferred me to the wire department, and this happened on the 8th. So on the 12th, they finally sent something to Chase, which was 4 days later. Now, I understand...
And they admit that you asked them to stop payment way sooner.
That is correct, and I got it in writing from an email that they sent to me, and they said they were going to use this as a coaching operation.
But instead, they said to you, hey, you were a victim of fraud. It's out of our hands. You were ripped off, right?
Pretty much. But I got a call today just now from them before I called you.
This is after we got involved and Deputy Smarty Pants started looking into it and getting all over them. Tell us what happened.
Well, I got a call this morning. I got an email last night about 10 o'clock saying that the fraud was declined. And so I called them this morning and said, hey, you know, what does this mean? Because we talked, and they said that is part of the fraud. But we have now opened up another one, a case based on the fact that we were told to do this and we did not do it, stop the payment. If you know anything about wires, if you wire somebody something on a Monday, they don't get it until late Tuesday afternoon. I did it in less than 8 hours from when I sent the wire. They would have had plenty of time to get a hold of Chase and say, stop this money. But now they have waited till the 12th to do this. The guy this morning said that, it looks pretty good in your favor. Then I get a call probably about 15, 20 minutes ago from somebody from USAA saying, well, we have sent 3 things to Chase now asking them about this wire to get the money back, and Chase has not responded to any of those. And I said, so what does that mean? They said, if we don't get our money back, you don't get your money back.
Well,
the point
I think an attorney would have something to say about that.
So what I'm asking you, Tom, do you know any attorneys or any attorney out there that would be interested on taking on USAA? I don't have a whole lot of money because all my money is gone, but anybody attorney that would be interested, if you would contact Tom Martino, who would give him I can get in touch with you, would be very, very helpful. I need an attorney. And
first, wait a minute. We're not done yet. I know you might need an attorney. You may need to sue them, but USAA, we need to get the written backup that you have showing you canceled this. That's what we need. I don't know if you've ever sent it to Kelly, but she's going to get on the phone and tell you.
Kelly got it. Kelly got it yesterday.
Good.
Got it yesterday.
That's what I'm going to have to see.
I'll take it back.
Well, hold on. That's what I'm going to see. I'm going to look at the documentation you got proving that you asked to cancel this, yet they went ahead and sent the wire. This is terrible, terrible. This is your life savings, right?
They didn't leave me with very much money left, and I've got a wife in a nursing home, and I was trying to help my son who's trying to adopt a child with that money, and I don't have a whole lot left over, and I can't afford to do much. I've got to watch where that money goes because I got nothing left. They kind of wiped me out of my savings, pretty much.
Now, where is this USAA bank located, your local one?
There is no local one in Colorado. There is one type of branch down in Colorado Springs, but they don't do any banking down there. And when I went down there, as I was told to talk to somebody in the fraud department, when I got there after driving over an hour and a half to get there from Lakewood, I was told there was nobody there that could do that.
Why did you? Let me ask you. Why did you bother using USAA? Is it because you're a veteran or what?
I'm a veteran. I'm a retired military, 22 and a half years in the military, and a disabled vet.
Well, we're not giving up on this, Lawrence. That's for damn sure.
Hey, Tom.
Well, I can tell you right now, neither am I.
Hey, Tom. Go ahead and refresh your email. I just sent you the document that basically has USAA admitting that they failed to adhere to Lawrence's wishes to stop the transfer.
I see it right here. I do. I just see it. Hold on a second. And it's the 2 attachments. What's the root on this one? What? Oh, never mind.
No. That's.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
it's from my. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, no, I see it. Okay, so USAA is committed to providing you with exceptional service. We are writing in response to your concern regarding a service experience on USAA account number so-and-so. Okay. Which you, okay. Our records indicate that indeed the wire recall was not submitted on 8/8 like it should have been. Oh my God. A coaching opportunity will be submitted. It is identified that on 8/12 when you called back in, holy crap, we regret the inconvenience. We appreciate you allowing the opportunity to resolve the matter, but they're not resolving it. Hey, bro, this is a smoking gun.
Yes, it is. That's why if you could find me an attorney, I'm sure that would make a big difference, Tom, because the bottom line today is they're saying unless they Chase gives back the money, they're not going to give it back to me.
Well, that's a lot of crap. This letter says hold on, you got this in writing. They're admitting they did wrong. And then they address you as they should address you, as Sergeant Lawrence, by the way. You didn't tell us you were a sergeant.
I'm a master sergeant, retired master sergeant.
Crap. What did you do?
I was in the Air Force. I did personnel, recruiting, and acting first sergeant at the end of my career.
Well, let me tell you something. We appreciate your service, and we're going to fight like hell for you now. How's that?
I appreciate anything you can do to help me get my $40,000 back.
Well, you're set. What you said you were what? 71?
Yep.
You can't be giving up 40 grand with your wife in the nursing home and your husband, your son adopting a baby. Hey, by the way, your wife, how's she doing?
She doesn't know who I am. She's got dementia. She does not know anything. She cannot be left alone. That's what started this whole thing. They had put they put $50,000 in her account that they took out of mine, and I panicked because it's under Medicaid. If you have more than $2,000,
yeah.
Out of Medicaid. That's
You're
why
right.
I sent them back their money. I was just trying to give them back what I thought was their money. I did not realize.
Right, I know.
$50,000 out of my savings.
We get that story. All right, we have more coming up. You hang on. Kelly, make sure you have all his contact information. We're going to get back to work on this for sure. I'm Tom Martino.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.
Couple things going on this afternoon. There's an accident southbound I-225 at I-25. That's causing stop-and-go speeds from Parker Road at 104th and Wadsworth. They're working on the signals there. The right lane is closed both directions of Wadsworth. We've got slow speeds on that stretch. And the closure in the Aurora Hills area, still dealing with that. Westbound Alameda closed between Potomac and Peoria as they continue to repair that water main. Your Fox 31 pinpoint weather. Chance of rain today, mid to upper 80s for the high. Showers possible tonight, 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and 89. Sunday, chance of rain and a high near 90 once again. Right now, it is 80. With your Impact Traffic and weather, Katie Mitchell, 630 KHOW.
Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blind shades and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop Blindster today and save big. Blindster.com.
BlakeHarrisLaw.com. Remember that for your wills, trusts, avoiding probate, going through probate, or if you need a beneficiary's deed or anything else. He'll answer your questions free of charge and then only charge flat rates for what he does for you. But get your answers now. 833-ASK-BLAKE. 833-ASK-BLAKE. Simply Floors, Inc. That's INC. That's the website, simplyfloorsinc.com. That's where you find Buddy and Karen Mitchell. You'll also find them at their showroom, 52nd and Ward on the southwest corner, for all your floor coverings at better than big box prices, better than big box installation, and better than big box customer service when it comes to design consultants for each and every project. So get your project underway with free advice and great financing and lower prices at simplyfloorsinc.com. Frank Duran was on the show. You heard him talking about how he prices houses to get maximum dollars. You'll never go wrong using Frank to list, and he'll never hold you to a long-term contract either. That's right. If you want to cancel or change your mind, Frank will understand. If you're thinking about listing a home, don't make the mistake now in this market and price it too high or too low. You got to get the price that'll get you the most offers in the shortest amount of time. And that's Frank. Frank Duran, therealestateman.com, 303-920-1622.
Can I say something about refunds when we come back?
Yes, for sure. Let me just listen to
About what? About refunds. I get so many calls about that.
What kind of
Where Amazon, eBay, electric company will say that, I'm sorry, we gave you, we need to refund your money. Just give us your bank account information and we'll transfer it. And so many people do that. And first of all, you should never do it. Number two, send me a check or a money order. But you never give anybody access to your bank account to put money in.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're talking about, the Zelle and all the other stuff.
Well, Zelle is different because Zelle...
I understand, but I still get nervous. It's like it's a door you're opening that you don't know how
yeah.
secure it is.
I agree. I mean,
you know, unless you, like I said, we talked about you have an account. You know, you keep your $500
right,
Zelle
exactly.
or something. You know, and only replenish it from a
right.
outside bank, and really go crazy about it.
Well, like Tom says, you make sure you keep it in a different bank.
Yes.
Like all my money's in First Bank, so when you have another account in a different bank, you're okay with $500 in it.
Mm-hmm. People a lot smarter than I am, and I just.
It's so funny. I was just thinking from the time I went to medical school until I got out of my residency was 9 years. I was so isolated from the economics that were going on in the country, because as a student, you're studying all the time, and as a resident,
But
you
there's
just.
not a lot that's affecting you either.
No, that's what I'm saying. Nothing will affect us because you were a resident, you were working 150 hours a week, and you got paid a certain amount of money. You didn't have time to spend it.
I think that's true with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Different ages and different, I mean, even as you get out of college and stuff. I mean, you may think you're savvy, but it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your pay. It doesn't affect anything.
Right.
You know.
Are you on? There's nothing.
That's on, so when we come back, we'll hear it.
Oh, 'cause I don't hear anything.
I know, that's because he leaves it off, so
Oh, okay.
we can hear each other. This is the time of year that has the best flying in the world.
Oh.
Because it's not too hot, it's not too cold.
Yeah, I mean, September and October are the best months in Colorado.
Oh my God, it is.
Less severe weather and
Yeah, and
Over 100% on your money every year. 9 a.m. Saturday, 6:30 KHAP.
It's Brian with Advanced Mudjacking. 2022 is here, and it's going to be another busy year. Denver is growing, but concrete is still sinking. Porches, driveways, floors, they all settle over time. Advanced Mudjacking at yahoo.com. 303-424-9.
Part 2 with Rudy Giuliani about what's happening in this country, in big cities with crime and more. Plus Dr. Robert Malone, the inventor of mRNA technology. And the affidavit is out on the Joe Pag Show. Tonight from 6 to 9 on 630 KHOW.
Hi, Tom Martino, Sheridan Auto Tech. We have here today Kevin Calkin. Kevin, a quick question here from texting. Do cars need tune-ups anymore? That's a good question. Do they need tune-ups, regular tune-ups?
Not as often, but they should be, on the intervals that the manufacturer recommends, which is probably 60 to 75, 80,000 miles. So
well, what does that mean? Like, what year did they stop needing regular tune-ups?
Well, I would say over the last 10 or 15 years, they just the plugs don't wear out. They don't, get regular oil changes.
You don't need to get new plugs unless they go bad?
No, I'm not saying that, but they last longer.
Okay. So you say go by the manufacturer's interval.
Yeah, go
in
line.
What if your car is 50 or 60 now? What do you do?
Well, then you tune it up as necessary. But the regular interval should be oil changes,
Okay.
just be liberal.
So in other words, you can listen to it run when they do an oil change.
Sure.
And if it needs,
Yep.
So if it needs to be done, you'll tell them, hey,
Yep.
you need this or this. All right. Bill, you have a question about a will. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. Hey, do I need a will that if I die first, everything would go to my wife normally, right?
Everything would go normally unless, Bill, if you had a second wife and you had kids from a first wife. Okay, so is this your one and only wife?
That's right.
Everything goes to your wife.
Right. Okay, that's it.
Now, there won't be anyone claiming to be your children or anything like that, right?
Children, but they're not greedy. They're not.
No, I don't mean greedy. I meant like previous,
No.
like not your kids. Okay. Yeah,
One
it's
wife.
always, and really, you don't. It's funny, you don't need a will, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to put it down to just to have it. But no, everything goes to your wife, and in fact, you can't even disinherit a wife if you were married more than a certain number of years. Your wife's going to get half no matter what, even if you tried to disinherit her from something. So husbands and wives are really protected.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, Bill. Thank you very much. 303-713-TALK. What's that?
Unless there's a prenup.
Well, say that into the mic. Unless
there's a prenup.
Yeah, that's right.
So you got to think about that.
Now, I wonder, though, can you disinherit in a prenup? I wonder. Actually, I don't know if that supersedes state law.
Well,
because in Colorado, you get 10% a year up to 50%.
Well, you disinherit anything that you had before the marriage.
Not talking about that. Right. But in Colorado, marital property, you're entitled to 10% a year when you first get married up to 50%, wow, which would be 5 years. And anyway, we ought to ask that when we get a chance. We don't have enough time now to do that, but we should. We should ask that on if you can disinherit somebody in a prenup, and I think you can, and I think that's the purpose of a prenup, as well as defining assets that were premarital or assets that will remain the same and remain in one property or another. And another thing, Kevin, winter preparation. Is there a such thing on a car for winterizing? We used to call it winterizing. Is there really a such thing?
Well, it's
other than tires.
Yeah, other than tires, but it's just seasonal. The winter's tougher on cars, so you want to make sure hoses, belts, everything's in good shape.
So basically, it's a checkup.
It's a checkup, but it's more so you don't get stranded in the cold, is why they call it a winter checkup.
And that the cold is hard on belts, hoses,
rubber components. Yeah,
your cooling system,
absolutely,
which now becomes your heating system.
Okay. Absolutely.
Anyway, we're out of time, folks. Don't forget, you can call 303-MARTINO and get in line for any show. 303-627-8466. You can call 24/7. Or you can go to referralist.com for more information on help and referrals. Save all your problems for me.